Next, we have Chaley Dimoff, a soon-to-be master's graduate from the Communication and Journalism Department at UW. She comes to Laramie from Wisconsin with her spouse and 2 doggies. Chaley is passionate about community connection through volunteerism and dedicated to making a positive impact in the world. She plans to continue her education and volunteering in hopes to make a broader impact on her new home of Laramie and the community members within.
All right, before I get started, I want to welcome you here and thank you for all being here. These are all pressing events, and I appreciate that you taking the time and effort to listen to all. So today we're here to talk about democracy. And as Scott so eloquently put it, democracy is about the people. People play various roles in our community, big, small, and they all make a difference. And today we're going to talk about how specifically the homeless population plays a role within our communities. The U.S. is plagued with homelessness. As of 2025, over 550,000 people have experienced homelessness. Across the state, some of our states experience upwards of 30% of the population in homeless situations. And yes, even within our beautiful state of Wyoming, with treacherous winters and unforgiving wildlife, we too experience homelessness. When I say homelessness, many of you think of these images, right? The disheveled clothes and hair and parks and tents and bridges and roadways. But what if I were to tell you that there are people in this room that have experienced homelessness, that are currently going through homelessness scenarios? They live among us, we talk to them every day. They're with us within our community all the time. We are thankful that in our community within Laramie, that we have several organizations that help make that transition or that fear into homelessness less scary for them. We have been fortunate enough to help several organizations and several families across our communities for several years. And I particularly have been fortunate enough to work with a lot of these organizations, but specifically Family Promise of Albany County. We work with families in particular, those with dependents that have dependent children, and we are able to help with housing, shelter, food, hygiene, diapers, whatever they need to get back on their feet or even to prevent homelessness altogether. Homelessness doesn't have a face, a name, a place. Homelessness is a collaboration of stories that come together that people never hear, that people don't want to hear, that go untold or unheard. These are the lives of the stories of individuals that we need in our communities. So today we're going to take a step through some of the journeys that these families have gone through, some of the ones that have hit me personally while working with these organizations. The original stories were documented in confidence and provided that they were used solely to inspire changes in our communities. Some of these details have been altered to protect the identities of these families. Now, what if I were to tell you that this mother and her child have experienced homelessness? They were in desperate need to get away from an abusive, mentally unstable household in a cabin in the literal middle of nowhere with no food, poor shelter, poor insulation, and the child wasn't even able to go to school. What if I were to tell you that this entire family has experienced homelessness, traveling thousands of miles, hotel to hotel, camper to campsite to campground, to finally find a home here in Laramie, Wyoming? What if I were to tell you that this single mom of 2, in their car, thousands of miles away from their home, their family, their resources, again, traveling from the side of the road through cities, and they actually have a connection here in Laramie to find some kind of hope and home for them. This single father experienced homelessness. He had to make the heartbreaking decision to leave his family and his home because his wife was found mentally unstable and unable to take care of their family and their child and was abusing their child. But because the mother was the major breadwinner of that family, he had to find a different place to call home. This nurse was at one point without a home. Not too far from here, actually, in a major city. But fortunately, because her daughter had a scholarship here at the University of Wyoming, she was able to move in with her daughter, clean up her act, go to school, and become the nurse that she always wanted to be. Now, most of our stories do end in some kind of positive, right? They get on their feet, they're on their way. But I do have to tell you that not all of our families experience that. Some of our families do go back to where they started, or even in a worse position. And that, unfortunately, is a reality that we, in helping these families, do have to face. And sometimes that's resources opportunities with. I'm going to leave you with a heartwarming story, one of my favorite ones. This family was almost separated because they could no longer afford the house that they were living in. The father had gotten a job up here in Laramie and was able to make a decent amount of money and was going to live here by himself. So the family decided to stick together. All four of them moved here to build up in hopes to move back to their hometown. Now, democracy is the meaning of our presentation today. And each one of these people has a voice in our democracy. They have voices in our communities, our plans, our votes, our education, everything on the screen. Those people have a voice too. And thankfully, we have organizations just like this that help them amplify their voice. There are organizations up here that help them vote, even though they don't have a home address. There's organizations up here that help their children go to school, even though they don't have a stable income. Right? There are organizations across the United States that help, but thankfully, we also have similar organizations right here in Laramie. These are just a few of the organizations that help the homeless populations, the displaced persons in our community get back up on their feet. I personally work with Albany County Family Promise, but all of these organizations help a specific group, right? So Unaccompanied Students Initiative, kind of like what Aubrey was dealing with, and we all can do this together. I am one person volunteering across all kinds of organizations, and we're all one person. But together, we can make a huge difference in our community, right? Together, we can make an impact. So today, I am simply going to leave you with a challenge. I want you to be the change, to take that opportunity to impact our communities, our families, those that need a voice that might not have one, and can impact our community as a whole.